The village was always bustling. From dawn till dusk, the streets were alive with activity. The air was filled with the sounds of chatter, laughter, and the occasional shout of a vendor trying to attract customers. The village market was the heart of this activity, a place where people from all walks of life came together. People hurried from place to place, each with their own purpose. Some were on their way to work, others were running errands, and a few were simply enjoying a leisurely stroll. The streets were a maze of movement, a dance of daily life that never seemed to stop. Children with their bright, curious eyes chased each other through the marketplace. Their laughter echoed through the streets, a joyful sound that added to the village's lively atmosphere. They played games, invented stories, and explored every nook and cranny of the market. It was a symphony of sounds and smells, a vibrant tapestry of life. The market stalls were filled with colourful fruits, vegetables, spices, and handmade goods. The aroma of freshly baked bread and sizzling street food wafted through the air, tempting passers-by to stop and indulge. In the heart of this lively village lived a young boy named Zayan. Zayan loved to play. He was a familiar face in the market, known for his boundless energy and infectious smile. The villagers often saw him darting between stalls, always in the middle of some grand adventure. He would spend his days running through the fields, chasing butterflies and dreaming under the warm sun. The fields were his playground, a vast expanse of green where he could let his imagination run wild. He would pretend to be a brave knight, a daring explorer, or a fearless superhero. Zayan often lost track of time. He would lie on the grass, staring up at the sky, watching the clouds drift by. Each cloud was a new story, a new adventure waiting to be told. Hours would pass, but to Zayan, it felt like mere minutes. He would forget his chores, leaving his toys scattered around. His room was a testament to his many adventures, with toys and trinkets strewn about, each one a memento of a different story. His parents would often find him in the middle of a new game, completely absorbed in his own world. His parents would remind him, "Zayan, time waits for no one." They tried to teach him the importance of responsibility and the value of time. They wanted him to understand that while play was important, so were his duties and commitments, but Zayan just shrugged, not fully understanding what they meant. To him, time was an endless resource, something that could be bent and stretched to fit his whims. He believed that there was always tomorrow, always another chance to do what needed to be done. He believed there was always enough time for everything. In his young mind, the world was full of possibilities, and there was no rush to grow up. For Zayan, each day was a new adventure, a new opportunity to explore, play, and dream. One day, Zayan's grandfather came to visit. It was a bright and sunny morning when he arrived at their rural home, the birds chirping merrily as if to welcome him. Zayan had been eagerly waiting for this day, for his grandfather's visits were always filled with stories and wisdom. He was a wise old man, with twinkling eyes that held 1,000 stories. His face, lined with the marks of time, always seemed to light up with a smile whenever he saw his family. His presence brought a sense of warmth and comfort to everyone around him. He had traveled the world and seen many wonders. From the bustling streets of Tokyo to the serene landscapes of the Swiss Alps, his adventures were endless. Each journey added a new chapter to his life, and he loved sharing these experiences with Zayan. He brought with him a gift for Zayan, a beautiful antique clock. This clock was not just any ordinary timepiece, it was a family heirloom passed down through generations. The moment Zayan laid eyes on it, he knew it was something special. The clock was made of polished wood and had a bright, cheerful face. Its intricate carvings told tales of craftsmanship from a bygone era. The hands of the clock moved gracefully, each tick resonating with the echoes of the past. This clock, his grandfather explained, is not just any clock. It holds the memories of our ancestors and the lessons they learned. It is a symbol of our family's journey through time, a reminder of where we come from and the values we hold dear. It is a reminder that time is precious. Every moment we have is a gift, and we must use it wisely. The clock's steady tick-tock serves as a gentle nudge to live each day with purpose and gratitude. Every tick is a moment that, once gone, can never be recovered. It teaches us to cherish the present and make the most of every second. Zayan listened intently, absorbing his grandfather's words like a sponge. Zayan was fascinated by the clock. He marveled at its beauty and the stories it held within. The more he looked at it, the more he felt connected to his family's history and the legacy his grandfather spoke of. He hung it on his wall, mesmerized by the rhythmic tick-tock of the pendulum. The clock became a centerpiece in his room, a constant reminder of his grandfather's wisdom and the importance of time. He promised his grandfather that he would cherish it always. With a heartfelt hug, Zayan thanked him for the precious gift and the invaluable lesson. The clock was more than just a timepiece. It was a symbol of love, heritage, and the fleeting nature of time. At first, Zayan was very conscious of the clock. Its ticking seemed to follow him everywhere. He would start his chores on time, remembering his grandfather's words, but as days turned into weeks, the novelty wore off. The clock's ticking faded into the background noise of Zayan's busy playtime. He went back to his old ways, procrastinating on his tasks and leaving everything until the last minute. The village was hosting its annual kite-flying competition soon, and Zayan was very excited to participate. He knew he had to start preparing his kite, but he kept putting it off, thinking he had plenty of time. The day of the competition arrived bright and sunny. The villagers gathered in the wide open field, their faces full of anticipation. Zayan woke up late, his heart suddenly pounding in his chest. He had completely forgotten about his kite. He rushed to gather his materials, his hands shaking with anxiety, but it was too late. The other children were already launching their beautifully crafted kites into the sky. Zayan frantically tried to put his kite together, but his rushed work was sloppy. He had no time to find the right balance or attach the tail properly. Section 5. Tears and a Realization. Zayan's kite struggled to fly, crashing back down to the ground after a few feeble attempts. The wind seemed to mock his efforts, swirling around him but never lifting his kite high enough. Each time he tried, the string would tangle and the kite would plummet, leaving him more frustrated than before. Disappointment washed over him as he watched the other kites soaring high above. They danced gracefully in the sky, their vibrant colors painting a picture of joy and freedom. Zayan's heart ached with envy and sadness. He wondered why his kite couldn't join them, why his efforts seemed so futile. Tears welled up in his eyes. He felt a lump in his throat and his vision blurred as the tears began to fall. The other children seemed so happy, their laughter ringing in his ears, a stark contrast to his own despair. He wiped his eyes with the back of his hand, but the tears kept coming. He ran back home, ignoring the cheers and laughter from the field. His feet pounded against the ground, each step echoing his frustration and sadness. He didn't look back, not wanting to see the kite still flying high, a reminder of his failure. As he sat on his bed, his gaze fell upon the antique clock. The room was quiet, the only sound being the steady ticking of the clock. It was a gift from his grandfather, a relic from a time long past. Zayan had always admired its intricate design, but today it seemed to hold a deeper meaning. Its pendulum swung back and forth steadily, each tick a sharp reminder of the precious time he had wasted. He thought about the hours he had spent trying to fly his kite, the frustration and tears. The clock's rhythmic ticking seemed to echo his grandfather's words he had often dismissed as old-fashioned. Zayan finally understood what his grandfather meant. The realization hit him hard, like a wave crashing over him. Time was a gift, a precious commodity that once lost could never be regained. He had always thought he had plenty of it, but now he saw how easily it could slip away. Time, once lost, was lost forever. The clock's hands moved steadily, never pausing, never stopping. It was a stark reminder that every moment counted, that he couldn't afford to waste any more time on fruitless endeavors. He needed to make the most of every second. It was in that moment, staring at the clock, that Zayan made a decision. He wouldn't let his failures define him. He would learn from them, grow stronger, and use his time wisely. The determination in his eyes was clear, a newfound resolve taking root in his heart. He wouldn't let time slip through his fingers anymore. With a deep breath, he stood up, ready to face the challenges ahead. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was prepared to make every moment count. Zayan was ready to take control of his destiny, one tick of the clock at a time. The next day, Zayan woke up with a newfound determination. He started by finishing all his chores. He organized his toys and cleaned his room. He even helped his mother in the kitchen. He felt a sense of accomplishment he hadn't felt before. He then decided to focus on his passion, building kites. He started planning his designs in advance, carefully selecting the materials he needed. He would spend hours each day meticulously crafting his kites, He learned from his mistakes, constantly improving his technique. The ticking of the clock no longer frightened Zayan. Instead, it became a source of motivation. It reminded him to use his time wisely and to never give up on his dreams. He started making schedules for himself, allocating time for his studies, chores, and hobbies. He learned the importance of planning and prioritizing. He discovered that when he managed his time well, he had more time for everything he loved. He was no longer rushing from one task to another. He was in control. A year later, the village was hosting its annual kite-flying competition again. This time, Zayan was ready. He had poured his heart and soul into crafting the most magnificent kite the village had ever seen. It was a beautiful balance of color and design, a testament to his hard work and dedication. As he launched his kite into the air, Zayan felt a surge of pride. The kite soared effortlessly, dancing gracefully in the wind. It climbed higher and higher, becoming a splash of color against the clear blue sky. Zayan won the competition that year, but more importantly, he learned a valuable lesson. He learned that time was indeed the most precious gift. It was a gift that, once lost, could never be recovered. But it was also a gift that, when used wisely, could lead to incredible things. From that day on, Zayan cherished every tick of the clock. It was a reminder of his grandfather's wisdom and the importance of making every moment count. And so the clock that once seemed like a burden became Zayan's most treasured possession, a constant companion on his journey to success and fulfillment.